Hello guys, welcome back in Goku Manhwa. Let's continue.
As soon as she entered the room, Prithia rushed over to Ren with visible tension in her features. She asked if he had heard the latest news and whether the kingdom's order would disrupt their plans. Ren gave a calm smile and reassured her that it was nothing urgent, just a minor administrative delay. Leah, standing at his side, looked unsettled and urged him to consider the situation more seriously, insisting that any royal interference was never trivial. She added that had the timing been any different, their mission could have ended in complete failure. At that moment, Preja's expression hardened as well. She nodded at Leah's concerns and said Ren couldn't continue ignoring the risks tied to their every decision. As she continued, her tone turned sharp. What did they demand this time? Ren let out a quiet breath and explained that the palace had sent envoys to inspect the border forts after hearing rumors of illegal smuggling routes. During their survey, they stumbled upon a hidden warehouse stocked with stolen goods. Ren had personally gone to investigate and had to mediate with the local guards. Unfortunately, things escalated when the envoys tried to take evidence without permission. A struggle broke out, and he was struck by a blunt weapon in the confusion. Prithia already had full knowledge of the event, but she carried on as if hearing it for the first time. She asked Ren who had tipped off the palace, and what gave them the courage to inspect Edgar territory without notice. Were they unaware that unauthorized intervention was a violation of the established treaty? At this, Leah interjected, mentioning that their informant had confessed to acting under the orders of Lord Vela. Prithia kept her act going. Her lips curled into a polite smile, but her eyes gleamed with ice. That snake Vela had truly gone too far this time, meddling in matters that did not concern him. Ren assumed it was likely because Eldritch had once acted as a courier for Vela. Judging by their reports, it appeared they had earned a fortune through under-the-table trade over the years. Prithia nodded to herself. That Eldritch had certainly been a thorn in their side, but he was no longer a concern. So, what would you do about those stolen records now? Ren responded that he intended to investigate their contents himself. At the moment, he lacked the personnel. So, if the records were authentic, he would archive them in the city library and have scholars study and classify them for historical preservation. Prithia thought that was a brilliant plan, one that enriched their knowledge and strengthened the city's prestige. She complimented Ren, saying his insight was deepening with each passing day. Ren replied that it was no great achievement, only his duty to contribute something of worth to the family. Observing that he appeared weary from all the recent stress, Prithia said she wouldn't keep him any longer and advised him to get some rest. However, she also gave him a firm reminder that moving forward, he must remain alert and avoid unnecessary risk. She had no wish to see him burdened by missteps again. Feeling her genuine concern, Ren felt reassured and made a quiet vow. He promised to be cautious from now on. At that moment, Prithia turned her gaze toward Leah with unmistakable intent. Leah, I leave my brother's well-being in your care. In all regards. The words made Leah stiffen. She knew precisely what Prithia was implying. Her cheeks burned with flustered realization. She murmured a soft reply. Please do not worry, Lady Prithia. I promise to keep Ren safe from this moment on. As the conversation ended, Prithia exited the room with a quiet but pleased expression. Outside, Gwen was already there. The instant she noticed Prithia stepping out, she quickly approached and asked how Ren was doing. Prithia answered that it wasn't serious, merely a minor issue. But her voice and eyes betrayed a different emotion entirely. At that moment, her eyes burned with cold determination. She looked down the dim corridor and spoke in a low voice. Nox, I need you to retrieve something for me. As soon as the words left her lips, the air around her shimmered with energy. A rift tore open in the fabric of space, and from it emerged a cloaked mage. He dropped to one knee before Prithia and responded with calm reverence. My lady, your will is my command. Prithia instructed Nox to head to the eastern vault and recover a sealed scroll left behind by the previous High Arcanist. She stressed the importance of retrieving it intact. The seal could not be broken yet. Ren needed to examine the contents firsthand tomorrow. It held secrets too delicate to trust with anyone else. Nox gave a silent nod and vanished through the corridor to complete the task without delay. The following morning, Ren's study received an unexpected visitor, Armando. He entered with a solemn expression and gave a respectful bow. My lord, I surrender. I am prepared to join your service. Ren leaned back with a sly grin and couldn't help himself from commenting. I am Armando. I walk the path of rebellion. I would rather vanish into the forest than wear a noble's colors. I live for freedom. I bow to no one. These sarcastic words stung Armando more than he expected. But he had no response. After all, they were the same words he had once shouted with pride. As Ren chuckled at his own impression, a sudden movement caused the pain in his side to spike. He grimaced and halted. Watching this unfold, Armando blinked in surprise. A strange thought crept into his mind. Is this truly the kind of noble I can serve? He behaves like an idiot. Yet in the midst of that ridicule, Ren's joy was genuine. At that very moment, Armando's loyalty surged, reaching 95. Inwardly, he acknowledged it. The man standing before him wasn't just a lord, he was a visionary. Someone who brought life to steel and fire. All right then. Time to work the machines. The thought of this once defiant youth now manning steam engines filled Ren with such satisfaction that he burst into laughter. Seeing the strange expression on Ren's face, Armando grew even more confused. He stepped back and cried out, "My lord, I admit my thinking was flawed. Please, stop acting so strange. Just give me an assignment." At that point, Ren's tone shifted entirely. He stared at Armando and asked him directly, "Armando, I ask you in full honesty, will you pledge your loyalty to me?" Armando bowed his head and answered with clarity, "Yes, my lord. I shall follow you and serve you with all I have." Instantly, the system recognized the new follower and updated the total number of skilled people under Ren's control. This deeply pleased Ren. Without waiting, he promoted Armando to oversee the central workshop in the lower city. Yet Armando was left puzzled by the announcement. He had no clue what such a position even meant. After all, he had studied under a mage, not a builder. Ren offered no clarification. He simply passed Armando a detailed scroll and instructed him to learn its content with care. Once the reservoir project was finalized, they would move forward with developing the city's infrastructure. When Armando unfurled the scroll, his breath caught. The designs etched upon it were breathtaking. Even his former instructor had never presented such innovative thinking. In that moment, Armando believed Ren's mind outshone that of his own esteemed mentor. Suddenly, the study doors flew wide open. Rosalind entered swiftly, her voice strained. "Lord Ren, we have a serious issue." The urgency in her tone triggered an uneasy feeling in Ren. What has happened now? She reported that disaster had struck the night before. The captive being held below, the head smuggler, had been found dead. This revelation caused Ren's eyes to narrow with focused intensity.